I'm Carolina Hianbrola, and this is a very brief modern history of bisexuality. Bisexuality, in the words of bisexual activist Robin Oakes, is the potential to be attracted romantically, physically, or mentally to people of more than one sex and or gender, not necessarily at the same time, not necessarily in the same way, and not necessarily to the same degree. The prefix bi seems to imply two, which has caused quite a bit of confusion over the years. In the beginning, it did mean attraction to just men and women, but this definition has evolved over time to be inclusive of non-binary genders. Modern interpretations of bisexuality, dating at least as far back as the 1991 Bisexual Manifesto, recognize bisexuality as the attraction to more than two genders. This is distinct from pansexuality, which actually falls underneath the bisexual plus umbrella, in that pansexuality means attraction regardless of gender. Some research suggests that bisexuals might make up over half of the LGBT community. Bisexuals contributed greatly to the LGBTQ+ movement during the 20th century. Their contributions are often discredited and their bisexuality erased, often in favor of labeling them exclusively homosexual. They did a lot more than what I'll talk about, but it would take a very long time to cover everything. The first usage of the word bisexual to refer to sexual orientation was in the 1892 English translation of the 1886 German Psychopathy of Sex. In 1948 and 1953, Alfred Kinsey, the father of the sexual revolution, published the Kinsey Reports, which are widely credited as the first attempts to research sexualities that do not fit into the dichotomous labels of exclusively heterosexual and exclusively homosexual. This research resulted in the Kinsey scale, which is used to describe an individual's orientation. In 1966, Robert A. Martin, a bisexual man who went by the pseudonym Stephen Donaldson, founded the Student Homophile League at Columbia University, which then became the first university to officially recognize a gay student group. 1969 saw the famous Stonewall riots, pictured here, when gays, lesbians, bisexuals, trans people, and other queer people fought back against the police during a bar raid. The Stonewall Rebellion is often considered the beginning of the modern LGBTQ+ movement. In 1970, Brenda Howard, a bisexual woman, coordinated the first Pride March in commemoration of the Stonewall riots. She is often referred to as the Mother of Pride because of this. When the AIDS crisis hit, the stigma against bisexuals increased significantly. The stereotypes of bisexuals being promiscuous, combined with the pervasive denial of bisexuality as a legitimate sexual orientation, led to things like Newsweek labeling bisexual men the ultimate pariahs of the AIDS epidemic. They are often blamed for spreading AIDS to their heterosexual partners. Bisexuals only began being researched and recorded in statistics in relation to the AIDS epidemic, which only served to reinforce the myths that bisexuals are more likely to transmit HIV and AIDS. In 1991, the first national bisexual magazine, Anything That Moves, Beyond the Myths of Bisexuality, was published. An issue from 1991 also included what is now referred to as the Bisexual Manifesto. In 1998, the bisexual pride flag was designed and unveiled by Michael Page. The pink was meant to represent exclusively same-sex/gender attraction, the blue exclusively opposite, and the purple both same and opposite gender attraction. The current definition of bisexuality has the blue representing different rather than opposite sex/gender attraction in order to be inclusive of non-binary genders. Many advancements and achievements have happened since the turn of the century. Unfortunately, despite vast strides being made, bi+ people are still at a disadvantage compared to not only straight people, but gays and lesbians too. While the LGBTQ+ community is generally a safe place for LGBTQ+ people, biphobia is still prevalent and perpetuated by gays and lesbians, in addition to what we also face from heterosexuals. Harmful stereotypes about bisexuals, like that we're confused, in a phase, greedy, promiscuous, unfaithful, secretly gay or secretly straight, or even just lying, to name a few, are still unfortunately common and only exacerbated by the media, which has resigned the vast majority of its portrayals of bisexuals to such stereotypes. Bisexuals also face higher rates of partner-on-partner violence, with 61% of bisexual women and 37% of bisexual men reporting having experienced it, compared to lesbians, gay men, straight women, and straight men. Far fewer bisexuals are out, as seen in the top chart. Bisexuals also face the highest rates of anxiety, depression, and other mood disorders, the highest rates of smoking, higher rates of STIs, higher rates of heart disease, higher rates of alcohol use, higher rates of eating disorders, and higher rates of suicidal thoughts or attempts. It's clear that there's a long way we still have to go. I hope this was informative. Thanks for watching.